Hello again. This is the next video. This is no longer recapping session 1 and is kind of some prep and information regarding the next session, where we'll begin painting. So I'm just going to, this is just some stuff off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, he said, holding a piece of paper with some notes on it. So yeah, this is just about workspace and where to paint, and just laying out. Some might not be always obvious to people, and we all have our own tolerances of chaos, and you might not have a dedicated area. In fact, you might just be setting up on the side of a kitchen table, but some of the principles still remain. So I think, I've got a big desk, but when I'm painting, I'm on a pretty much an A3 area, and the things I have, jar of water, clean water, try to clean it as regularly as possible. Some tissue paper, kitchen paper, this is, and I tend to just fold it, and because what I try not to do is squeeze the brushes and just unload by just tapping the brush on the tissue paper, the kitchen paper, and you're more gentle on the brushes doing it that way. This is an old eyedropper bottle I filled with water, which can be handy if you're trying. I tend to just mix water with my paints as I go and get used to the consistency, but being able to drop a single drop in a drop of paint for a 50-50 is a mix of water to paint is a decent way of doing it, or one way of doing it. So that's that, and obviously I'm not going to open this right now, but this is a wet palette. This is a commercially available one from Redgrass Games. Different companies do them, and you can make your own, and I'm going to find some links for you to, if you don't have one, you make your own. When I first did my first demonstration for Models for Heroes, I mixed paint in an old pill pill case, which includes the therapeutic act of peeling off the silver off the top. But these are things I collect and use for excuse me, various things at various times. Just gonna have a drink of water. I have a bit of a cold and a tickly throat. So you can mix paint in these as well, but I tend not to do that. I'm going to say it as well. If you've seen me live at any sessions, you'll often see a piece of card. This is from an A4 sheet of art card, relatively thin, and I get it from a hobbycraft, and cut it into bits of 6, so it ends up with about 6 square sized pieces. What I do with this, and we'll see when we're painting properly, what I do with this is unload my final test of how much paint is on my brush is done on a bit of card. If I've primed a figure in grey, I'll use grey card. If I've primed a figure in black, I'll use black card. And just to illustrate, here's one I've been using for painting. I think it's pretty much painting this guy, and they're quite fun to I actually keep some of them because they're quite fun, almost like modern art, and the colours can kind of relate quite strongly to the colours you were painting the figure in. So that's that. That's not essential, but that's the thing that I do, and so that's just to explain that. And I think finally, I was going to say about brushes, there is no if you always try to get the best brush you can afford, but you can still get reasonable. Well, this isn't finally, by the way. I've got one more thing to say, but yeah, use the best brushes you can afford. Now, I have a set of NIC Pro brushes which I acquired to do a painting demonstration for somebody, actually Mr. Skiffins, and they are, I think, about 15 quid, 13-14 pounds for 15 brushes. They're okay. It's and I painted this head using them, so it shows you can do stuff with them. I did find a finer, they were more likely to not hold their shape than the posher brushes, which I'll mention in a minute. And to do some of the finer work, they were hard work as well to keep the point on them. So you can use them and you can get results with them, but the bottom line is, if you are certainly with figures, and you'll find that when you're doing some of the figure painting and you get used to doing some of the detail work, for example, that can apply to other things as well, like AFV tools and things that are a little bit more awkward to paint on tanks and things like that, where you might want to do a little bit of hand brushing if you're not airbrushing. So yes, you can use those if you've got them. If you're not used to using other ones, that'll probably be fine. But when you use the higher quality ones, usually a red sable, there are many types out there. There are synthetic ones which are pretty good as well. I use mostly Winsor & Newton Series 7. This is a 1 and a 0. They hold their point really well. They're very soft. They not only hold the point, they hold the paint on the brush very well, and you can actually do, you can see gauge the size of them against my finger, although I have small hands, but they're not that small. And I've had these for years, and when they're cared for nicely, they will last you a long time. I've recently acquired some brushes from a company called Chimera, who are offshoot of Pegaso, figure manufacturing company. Again, sable, very fine and very nice. Just wanted to test something out. They have some interesting, this is actually a really good brush. It's got a kind of a nipped end and still got a lovely point on it, and it's really good for putting base coats on, and you can still put some decent highlights on with that. But anyway, yeah, so that's the brushes. Best you can afford, red sable. There are, like I say, Artis Opus, Rosemary and Co, and various other ones all do, or actually Artis Opus are Rosemary and Co. Sometimes they're rebranded. As I have learnt recently myself, Winsor & Newton Series 7 brushes are rebranded and sold more expensively for Games Workshop at their top of the range, because basically the top heavy metal painters for Games Workshop were using Winsor & Newton, and they were told they had to use Games Workshop products, so Games Workshop went and rebranded Winsor & Newton stuff for them rather than create a whole new brush. So there you go. Still really nice in my opinion. Other opinions are available. The last thing, which I nearly missed because it's right in front of my face, of course, is the light. I have a light, what you'll see, I'm left-handed, which means my light is up here to my right. So if I am holding a Dothraki veteran and painting, my hand is not creating a shadow on the thing I'm painting. I used to use a £5 IKEA angle poise lamp with a daylight bulb in it, and I now use a proper hobby lamp or a dedicated hobby lamp, which gives more broad coverage and more diffuse coverage, so the shadow isn't such an issue. But it's still better to have it on your right or on the opposite side to what you're going to, where your hand's going to be, because you don't want to be trying to paint into shadow. So that's just a bit of a consideration. And even generally the placing of where your water and stuff is going to be, the way you're going to want to. I'm left-handed, so my water is going to be over here. I'm not reaching across my model to get to my water. Yeah, it's things like that. I mean, I might get my paint on a palette, but these are things for discussion next time. There'll be one more video, that'll be about paint, but this was about workspace and some of the tools that I use. So rather than have an entire session talking about that, we can get to painting, basically. That would be the idea. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.